Before we get into today's news, I want to say something real quick because it matters to me and it should matter to you too. This channel just crossed 350 subscribers, and honestly, that means the world. Every single one of you who hit that button, left a comment, or just kept coming back for these breakdowns, thank you. This channel exists because of Lions fans like you who wanted the full story instead of clickbait nonsense. Now we're chasing the next milestone, 500 subscribers, and I need your help getting there. If you have not subscribed yet, take 2 seconds right now and do it. It costs you nothing and it means everything to a channel built entirely around covering this team the right way. Okay, with that said, let's get into it because there is a lot happening around this Lions roster right now, and I mean a lot. We have got a wave of players returning to practice. We have an encouraging update on a rookie linebacker everybody has been worried about. A national outlet just handed this franchise one of the biggest compliments it has gotten in years. There is a legitimate trade idea floating around involving the Baltimore Ravens. And Jared Goff just said something about Aiden Hutchinson that is going to make you smile. Buckle up, because this is a loaded one. Let's start with the injury report, because it is genuinely one of the more encouraging updates we have seen in a while. Sione Vaki is back on the practice field after that freak eye and nose injury a few weeks back, and seeing him out there again is a great sign for a player who offers real versatility to this offense. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs returned as well after dealing with a minor knee issue, and there is nothing serious to worry about there. Juice Scruggs is back after working through a soft tissue injury, which is fantastic news for the depth on the interior offensive line. Malcolm Rodriguez is also back after an ankle issue kept him sidelined. But if we are talking about the single biggest return of the day, it has got to be rookie edge rusher Derek Moore. You never want to see a rookie's development get delayed by injury, and having him back out there getting real representatives is exactly what this coaching staff wants to see as this defensive front continues to take shape heading into the season. Cornerback DJ Reed, who has been dealing with a groin issue, is reportedly getting close to a return as well, which is a relief for a secondary that cannot afford to be without him for long. Offensive lineman Devin Cochran has been working with trainers, which is typically the step right before a full return to practice. And then there is rookie linebacker Jimmy Rolder, who did not practice, but do not let that worry you, because the update on him is genuinely great news. He spoke to the media recently and said his leg is getting better and that he is making real strides, with a realistic chance of being back on the field within a week or so. That matters a lot for a rookie who was having a strong spring and a strong start to training camp before this injury interrupted his momentum. He is still fully locked into the mental side of things too, sitting in on meetings and staying plugged into the defensive install, so this is really just a matter of his body catching back up to where his mind already is. With Alex Anzalone gone in free agency, this coaching staff drafted Rolder specifically to develop into a long-term answer at that position. Veterans like Devin White and Malcolm Rodriguez can absolutely hold things down in the meantime, but make no mistake, this organization wants its rookie out there developing and making plays sooner rather than later because he represents part of the future at that spot. There were a handful of other names on the injury list too, mostly players either dealing with more minor issues or who were always going to be long shots to make the initial 53-man roster regardless. Running back Isaiah Pacheco is on a timeline pointing toward being ready closer to week 1. Running back Jacob Saylors has a minor ankle issue that does not look serious. Rookie tackle Giovanni Manu remains on the non-football injury list and will likely be out for an extended stretch. Cade Mays is dealing with an injury that could keep him sidelined into the week 7 range. Defensive lineman Mackie Wingo is working through a concussion. And there are a few additional depth pieces further down the roster dealing with their own undisclosed issues, guys who realistically were always going to be fighting long odds just to make this roster in the first place. The headline takeaway here is simple. The players this team actually needs, the ones central to this year's plans, are largely trending in the right direction, and that is exactly the kind of news Lions fans want to hear this deep into camp. Now, here is a story that should put a genuine smile on your face. A national outlet just ranked the Detroit Lions as having one of the brightest futures in the entire NFL, specifically pointing to the stretch of seasons coming up after this one. ESPN's expert panel placed the Lions with the 3rd brightest future in the league, trailing only the Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles. Think about that for a second. This is not some local outlet with a built-in bias toward this team. This is a national evaluation made by people who watch all 32 franchises for a living, and they are telling you that this organization, from the top down, is built the right way. Good drafting, sustainable roster building, a genuine winning culture already in place. For a fan base that has heard about as much negativity over the decades as any fan base in professional sports, this is the kind of external validation that is worth savoring for a moment. It has taken this franchise a long, long time to get real national respect, and it is nice, for once, to just sit back and enjoy hearing it. Let's shift over to a juicy one now, because I know this is probably why a lot of you clicked on this video in the first place. There is chatter connecting the Lions to the Baltimore Ravens in a potential trade. The Ravens reportedly have more competent cornerbacks than roster spots to give them, which typically means a trade becomes likely at some point as that logjam sorts itself out. One name that has come up in that conversation is cornerback TJ Tampa, a former fourth-round pick who has flashed real talent when given the opportunity, even if playing time in Baltimore has been hard to come by so far in his career. He is a bigger corner, over 6 feet tall, still just in his mid-20s, and would come without breaking the bank on this year's cap sheet since he is still on his rookie contract. On paper, adding size at cornerback is exactly the kind of thing this roster could use. Here is where it gets complicated, though. The reported ask from Baltimore in this idea is not draft capital. It is a player, and specifically, the idea floated involves the Lions sending wide receiver Isaac T. Slaw back the other way. And look, I will be straightforward with you. I do not love this particular version of the trade. Yes, T. Slaw has had some inconsistent moments in camp, including a few drops that got more attention than they probably deserved, but we saw real, legitimate flashes of what he can be. The kind of big-time, contested catches that suggest a genuinely bright future as this offense's number 3 option. Giving up a player like that, someone this front office traded up specifically to acquire, for a cornerback who has not yet proven he can be a full-time NFL starter, feels like too steep a price. If the conversation ever shifts toward draft compensation instead of a direct player swap, that becomes a much more reasonable framework worth exploring. But T. Slaw for Tampa? Straight up? I would pass on that one, and my strong suspicion is that Brad Holmes would pass on it too. This front office has not shown a pattern of giving up on rookies after a bumpy training camp stretch, and I do not expect that approach to change now. Let's close things out with a genuinely feel-good story. Jared Goff spoke recently about what Aiden Hutchinson brings to this team, and it is clear the respect between these two runs deep. Goff praised Hutchinson's presence in both the run game and the pass game, calling out the level of competition Hutchinson brings to practice every single day against this team's talented offensive line, specifically pointing to the daily battles against one of the best left tackles in football. Goff made it clear he genuinely enjoys watching that competition play out, and watching both players continue to push each other to new levels. It makes total sense why a quarterback would speak that way about his own edge rusher. Goff knows better than almost anyone in this league what it feels like to operate behind a defense that cannot get to opposing quarterbacks, and he knows exactly what it means to have a game wrecker like Hutchinson on his own side of the ball instead. Hutchinson's motor has become the stuff of legend around this building. The kind of player who simply never lets up, snap after snap, series after series. And it is not just Hutchinson either. This coaching staff has talked about that same relentless, never-quit mentality showing up in other players on this defense, most notably in breakout rookie Alim McNeill, who has brought that exact same all-gas, no-breaks energy to every single rep since the day he arrived in Detroit. So here is where things stand. The injury report is trending positively, with the two biggest names, Derek Moore and Jimmy Rolder, both either back on the field or firmly on track to return soon. A respected national outlet just publicly validated everything this front office has built over the past several years, ranking this organization's future among the very best in the entire league. There is a legitimate trade idea worth monitoring involving the Ravens and cornerback depth, even if the specific framework being floated right now is not one I would personally want to see this front office accept. And the mutual respect between Jared Goff and Aiden Hutchinson says a lot about the culture that has been built inside that locker room. I want to hear from you on this one. Drop a comment below and let me know, would you actually make the Isaac T. Slaw for TJ Tampa trade if the Ravens call tomorrow? And which rookie are you most excited to see get back on the practice field first, Derek Moore or Jimmy Rolder? I read every single comment, and this community genuinely shapes what we cover next. If this kind of complete, honest breakdown is valuable to you, do not scroll past this one without hitting that like button and dropping a comment. And before you go, please, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and help us reach 500 subscribers. This channel exists because of Lions fans like you who show up for the real, complete story. Go Lions!